Due to the complexity of the tax laws surrounding one's 401k plan, many savers are led to believe that if they retire prior to age 59 and a half, just had this come up the other day with a 55-year-old, that there is no way they can touch that money inside that tax-infested 401k prior to age 59 and a half unless they're willing to take an additional tax penalty to get at it, which is not always the case. So let's say we have a John Doe who's age 55 and he wants to retire. He is going to terminate employment. He's not going back to work, and he thinks he might need some money. Why? Because while his wife is still working, again, this case just came up the other day, after reviewing their expenses, his wife's income is not going to be enough to cover all of their monthly expenses. So he feels like he's going to have to drag out some of this money from the 401k, but he wants to know, is there any way to avoid that 10% penalty tax that will be imposed since he's not age 59 and a half? So basically, this person has two options to avoid the penalty. So let's take a look at how that would work. Again, the magical age here is 59 and a half, but actually there's a magical age of 55 that the government has imposed. And I'm thinking you're probably like me wondering who comes up with all these crazy rules. Well, that's what our politicians do. They try to come up with complicated rules, and I guess everybody like myself somehow benefits from it because you need people like us to navigate this stuff, which is what we do at Tony Walker Financial. But in our case, he is exactly age 55. So option one, he would have, and again, we're trying to avoid what's called the 10%, I call it the tax penalty. Option one, and he has another option two. All right, let's start with option one. Option one says that if he terminates employment, this is how the rules state in the law, and he's 55 years or older, okay, terminates employment at age 55 or later, before 59 and a half, option one says he can avoid that penalty if he leaves the money at the 401k. Okay, so in other words, this person's retired. He can just leave it there. If the custodian, most of them do allow you to leave it in the form of a 401k. Don't let him move it over to an IRA just yet. Just stays to the 401k. Because he terminated employment at 55 or older, there are no tax penalties. So he could take out money anytime he wants from that 401k. Of course, when he hits 59 and a half, he can take out as much as he wants regardless, whether it's at the 401k or with somebody like us. But what if he says, Tony, I like your game plan, man. I want you to handle everything. I want to bring your firm on board and be my advisor. Can you not handle this 401k? And at the same time, if I take money out prior to 59 and a half, can you help me avoid that penalty? And the answer is actually kind of. We can if we do something called a 72T election. Again, this is a government provision. And what that 72T election says is this. If you have an individual retirement account with us or any other broker, if you take money out of it prior to 59 and a half, you're going to have that 10% penalty unless you do this. Well, what is a 72T? That means, in this case, between 55 and basically 60, it's age 59 and a half or 5 years, whichever is greater, so we'll just keep this simple. So between 55 and 60, we might calculate this 72T. Again, these are government tables we have to follow. But it says, okay, Mr. Jones, if you want to, based on these 72T requirements, we can send you $3,000 a month starting now. It has to remain that way until the 5-year ends, and you cannot change it. And then after that, when you hit 59 and a half, you can do anything you want. So that is an option, and we do these from time to time. They can work very well, and the 72T election can avoid that 10% penalty. So that's you right now. Maybe you're under the age of 59 and a half, and you want to get out. You want to retire, but you also don't want to create unnecessary taxes and penalties. We need to talk. At Tony Walker Financial, we are a full-service, independent retirement planning firm. We have 2 certified tax specialists on staff, and our services coming to you at no additional out-of-pocket costs. That's right, all of our planning services are free to our clients. So to learn more about our services, why don't you log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call us anytime at 877-499-9255. Well, folks, we'll be right back.